Welcome to episode 6 of the Popping Culture Podcast. I'm Jay.
And I'm Adrian. Thanks for joining us. We're going to keep this one short. I know you've all heard that now for 6 weeks, but one of us isn't feeling so well. Go ahead, say something, Jay.
You may notice my voice is a little off this week.
You know what's going to make you feel better, though?
I'm assuming alcohol.
Yeah, it is. And not any alcohol. Beer. A personal favorite. We are drinking the Dogfish Pumpkin Ale. Not pumpkin, pumpkin ale, because it's fall time now here in Seattle.
It is. And I'm typically not a big fan of pumpkin beers, so we'll see how I feel about this one.
If I can get this one open.
Maybe. You need a mallet?
I might. Like, this one's seriously tight. This is slightly embarrassing. After this, he's going to come home and open all my pickle jars. There it is. Thanks, buddy.
You can thank Annie for putting that one on so tight.
That's right. As per usual, all our beer comes from Special Brews in Linwood. All right, there you are. One for you.
All right.
Now, they had their Oktoberfest, but this beer is left over from last week's special, which was pumpkin beers.
It's not bad. It's
Right.
actually got a real sweet taste to it.
But not overly pumpkin.
No. And not overly nutmeg. We had that one.
Yeah, that one was...
Oh.
It sounds good where it's like drinking a pumpkin pie if the pumpkin pie had a whole thing of nutmeg in it.
Yeah, it was not good. It really reinforced my disliking of pumpkin beers.
But the pumpkin chino... Oh. Jay, let's just think about how great that was for a moment.
All right, now that that's over with.
It's not, though. It's really not. But we'll move on for the sake of
This is why
speedy.
we don't keep things short.
Yeah, right? Because they have delicious beer that's made out of coffee and pumpkin.
All right, so we're going to move right into one of our topics this week. Where do you want to start? TV,
Let's start with TV, because Gotham
TV.
premiered this week.
What's that?
Oh, okay. So for those of you who are not familiar with what Gotham is, it's this little-known city where Batman resides. Right. Okay, that's on me. Batman is a character from a comic book. A comic book is what we talk about on this show. That pretty much brings it full circle.
No, we're good.
Okay, yeah.
So Gotham premiered on Fox this week. It was the first of the comic book shows for the season to premiere.
That's right.
Also, this was the very first episode of the show. Series premiere. A lot of hype around it. There was over 8 million people that tuned in to watch this.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't
Wow.
get counted in that because I don't watch it on the cables, but
You watched it on the torrents.
I did.
I watched it on the Hulus.
All right. So what did you think?
I thought it was relatively good. I've already discussed my disdain of the name Fish Mooney.
Right.
Until she fights the albacore man and tuna girl, then it's going to make a whole lot of sense.
What about, what is it? Tiger Shark? Right? That's a real person.
Tiger Shark's a person.
Then there was in the very first comic I ever received as a small child was Green Lantern, the Hal Jordan Green Lantern number 5, I think, and he's fighting a human tiger guy or human shark guy on the cover.
No, he also fought a human shark guy in the Jeff Johns re-release.
He did. It was the same guy.
Yeah, I know, but that's not what you're.
No.
Yeah, there's Tiger Shark. There's everyone Aquaman's ever faced. Like,
Right.
apparently, Fish Mooney and Aquaman are gonna butt some heads.
Right? They're actually like brother sister. That's what we're gonna find out later.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Also, did you notice that Jada Pinkett Smith was trying really hard to have an accent that worked horribly for her?
Oh, absolutely. That's
Okay.
pretty much every one of the movies she's ever been in, though.
That's fair.
Yeah. But other than your disdain for the name Fish Mooney,
I thought it was fine. I like where it's going. It does not take place in the continuum at all.
No. This is very out of continuity. All these stories are made up just for the show. Kind of in the same vein as Smallville. You had elements of the Superman mythos in it, but it was all just made up for the show. So
Absolutely. Same way with Gotham. Like,
right.
None of it follows continuum, and I don't need it to. I can very easily separate what I read from what I see, from what I hear.
Right.
So that's fine. What about you? Some of your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. I've heard a lot of complaints that they stuffed too many people into this first episode.
I don't think
I don't think they did. No, I think it was really good for them to just touch on all these characters just so you get an idea of what they're going for. It's Gotham before Batman.
Sure.
So all these people had to exist in the city before Batman existed. So we're going to see glimpses into how they became who they were. So you saw people like Edward Nygma as a ballistics detective. He later becomes the Riddler. And there was reference to that. They told him to knock it off with the riddles. You see a very young Selena Kyle who will grow up to be Catwoman.
She was already a thief in this one,
Right.
which I thought was funny how she got the milk and everything else.
Yeah.
That was clever.
Yeah. You see what will end up being Poison Ivy, even though they did a name change there.
Ivy Pepper.
Ivy Pepper.
But it was very clear, red hair surrounded by ivy plants, kind of was a dead giveaway.
So, and then I even enjoyed them putting in things like Renee Montoya and Crispus Allen.
Yep.
Two people that really got their spotlight during Gotham Central.
So, question. Renee Montoya in the comic book.
I see what you did there.
For those of you who don't get that pun, Wikipedia it. But, with that said, she is a lesbian in the comic. Well, recent convert to lesbian, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But if you notice, when she went to go talk to Barbara Keene, James Gordon's fiance, there was a little bit of hint of something else behind the scenes. So either Barbara had some college years, or they're not trying to make her lesbian, but they're maybe a silent nod to the fans.
No, I think it was a direct hint that they used to be in a relationship together. And I'm sure we'll probably see that fleshed out more in future episodes. Speaking of Barbara Keene, I did not know that Barbara Gordon's mother was named Barbara until I saw it on the show. I'm like, oh, I wonder, that's weird. Yep. Interesting enough, going to Wikipedia, there is no mention of Barbara Gordon's mother on her Wikipedia article at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, she's always been dead.
She's always been dead. But you'd think that there'd be something, oh, her mom, Barbara, died.
Her mom was Barbara because Jim calls her Barbara in the books.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So she's Barbara Gordon Jr.
She is, well, no, I don't think women get the junior.
Well, why not?
I don't know. It's just never happened.
All right.
Do you ever know any females named Junior?
I've never known any females named after their mom.
Oh. Well, where did you know what? I'm going to save that joke for later. So overall, Gotham, if you haven't watched it, it's on the Hulus, it's on the torrents, it's on demand. If you actually pay for cable, watch it.
Who does that?
Yeah, there's like 3 of you who watch that actually do that. And for those 3 of you, can I get your password to watch the NFL package? Because I don't like paying $300 a season. Call me.
All right, so that was Gotham.
I do have Arrow news real fast.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I promised I would get caught up on Arrow in time for season 3. That's probably not going to happen, kids. So I was in Portland last weekend. I have Edmonton this weekend, followed by New York, Dallas, Boise, Phoenix. And that's going to take some time away from me. Plus, it's not on Netflix. Why is it not on Netflix?
Yeah, this announcement came out this weekend. This is the stupidest thing ever. They're not going to put season 2 up until after season 3's already premiered.
Right. So I can't be caught up by the time it starts. But I sure as hell can be caught up maybe episode 3.
Or 10.
No.
No?
No, I'm going to make this happen. Look it. I told you I'd watch Melissa and Joey, right? And last time I left off with 2 episodes. I just cleared 20 in one weekend. I can do Arrow.
Okay.
It's going to happen.
Okay. Speaking of Melissa and Joey, since you threw that out there.
I know, I did.
Do you have any updates on that?
It's great background noise. To be fair, my wife enjoys it, and she thinks it's getting better. I also think it's getting better. I can't sit and watch the whole episode yet. I do like the jokes. You were totally right. The kids get funnier. The jokes get a little better. They do reference their 80s kind of thing. It's great while I'm playing my DS, work emails, doing that kind of thing, cooking dinner. I have a feeling there are going to be some parts where I'm like, I should have actually watched that episode for like little like quips and the way they look at each other. So I think come season 2, I'm going to invest more time into it.
And like I was saying earlier, season 2 is shorter than season 1.
Yeah.
Season 1 was 30 episodes.
Season 2 is 22, I think.
It's 22. Season 3, you get back up to 36 episodes.
Oh, good.
Because they did like a 16 episode, and then they took a break, and then they came back and did like another 18 episodes.
The South Park model.
Right. Or damn near anything on AMC these days.
Sure, because they're just so high budget they can't afford all that right up front. Yeah.
12 episodes takes eight months to air.
Wow. So that was our TV. Is there any other TV that you've watched?
No, not really. Like I said, I'm all the way caught up with Melissa and Joey now.
Yep.
We finished the season 3. I did finish yesterday season 3 of Pretty Little Liars, so I only have one more season of that, and then I'll be caught up.
Okay. When does that debut or air the new season?
So they've actually already done the first 8 episodes of this next season.
Oh, really?
They premiere in July, and then do like 2 months, and then they are on a break, and they won't be back till January.
That's so weird. Why 2 months?
I don't know.
All right.
Because they had nothing else to put on in August.
That sounds about right. Movies then?
Okay. The only movie that I watched this week. I don't know. I don't think I talked about this last week. So I had watched the 1943 Batman serial.
Oh, with the.
Yes.
Yeah. I still can't say it.
After I watched that, I found out there was also a 1949 Batman serial. Mm-hmm. So I started watching that. Again, it's 15 parts, 20 minutes per part, 2 discs. I just forced myself to get through the first disc.
Was it that bad?
It is that bad.
But you enjoyed the 1943 one.
The 1943 one was better. In the 1949 one, the villain is somebody called the Wizard.
Okay.
Who is not from the comics at all, from what I can tell. His lair was the same set as the Batcave, just with different.
I love it.
So yes. You can see like they had this weird entrance from the side, and it was the same on both. Also, it was weird that the Batmobile is just a 1949 Mercury convertible.
Okay.
When the top's down, that's Bruce Wayne's car. When the top's up, it's the Batmobile. And somehow they don't realize that it's the same fucking car.
Well, they don't realize Clark Kent is Superman with or without glasses.
No, but I'm like, you got the same 8 bullet holes in that driver's side door that you put in there 20 minutes ago, and you don't realize it.
Wait, does the license plate flip?
No, it is seriously just the hood. And then there was just a lot of terrible science in there. At one point, a picture gets burned. A picture with its negative gets burned. Batman scoops up the ashes, takes it back to the Batcave, puts it in a machine that reassembles it back into the negative.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then he takes a picture of the negative, develops it, and it's the original picture.
So their science is way off. Thankfully, we have Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Right.
Where some guy punched him in the back while hanging upside down and fixed his broken back. Solid science, people.
What? That guy's got a degree in chiropractic. What's the big deal?
Well, I mean, he got it from Arizona State University. It's online, not like a real degree at that point, right?
Yeah. So, other than that, half of a movie, I watched Garden State.
Yep.
Which is one of my girlfriend's favorite movies. I know you are not a fan of it at all. And it's funny because I was telling you earlier that I watched it and you're like, yeah, I can't. It's in the same vein as Little Miss Sunshine 2, which I told you was her other favorite movie. So
Jess, honey, watch The Godfather.
Apparently you and my girlfriend have no similar taste in movies.
Which is weird because we wear the same color lipstick.
It's true.
So, I don't know. Well, to each their own, I suppose.
All right.
Speaking of each their own, what about our own comic books?
All right, let's get into comic books.
Everyone, look at the time we're making. It's fantastic.
Right. We're going to be out of here in under an hour and a half this week.
No. Until we start complaining about what we read.
Yeah, well, that's true. You want to go first?
I feel like a heathen. They're not even bagged and boarded. Like, I've been all over the board this week.
So before you start, I'm going to tell you guys this. I had my comics sitting over in an office over there earlier, and I picked one up, and I'm like, oh no, the cover's all bent up now because of the way it was sitting. I don't care.
My response was that would have been fixed had you had a bagging board.
Yeah, it also is just perfectly readable how it is.
Like, I'm going to go home. I probably will bag and board before I even pack my suitcase. Like, I got priorities, people. So I can't hit on everything I got. I got some more Spider-Verse stuff. I got some more Avengers stuff. X-Men stuff. I mean, I can't hit on everything. A lot of Futures End. I did pick up Bob's Burgers issue 2, which I'm totally excited about. Yeah, go ahead.
I was looking at that back cover. It's kind of crazy.
It's awesome. Some Futures End stuff, which I mentioned. The ones I will be discussing, however, will be G.I. Joe #1 and Guardians of the Galaxy #19.
Okay. For me this week, sorry, I need some more beer. Hold on. For me, I have Futures End, Red Lantern, and Sinestro. I picked up Magneto, Batman Eternal, Cowl, Evil Empire, Letter 44. And that's it for this week. The two I'm going to be talking about, because they're relevant to mainstream comics right now, is my two Futures End titles, Sinestro and Red Lantern.
Which is good because I want to hear about those. I know we had a brief discussion. We've been having a really hard time with the Futures End stuff.
Yeah, so far I've only found the one that I really liked, and that, of all things, was Supergirl.
So, like, the main book itself, Futures End, has been pretty good.
Okay.
It's the monthly tie-ins, and luckily it's only this 1 month that they're doing the tie-ins, that have been real bad.
Right.
So...
And I feel like it's just... They committed to this idea of telling a story of all of their main characters 5 years in the future without actually mapping out the ideas first.
Right.
So each writer was just kind of given like, oh, you need to figure out what the hell, Red Lanterns are going to be like in 5 years.
Have you noticed that a lot of the writers, though, aren't actually the writers, the general writers
right.
of the book?
Yeah,
like, they're all, like, guest writers and such.
Yeah, which I don't know if that makes it better or worse. But, I feel like...
I think it's nice that at least that way people who aren't usually writing get, like, a credit. Like, for instance, this Flash one, the art is...
You paid for the cover.
I pay for all the covers because they're nifty, man.
It
makes me feel like the 90s are back. Like, if this was in a black bag with a
foil,
red S on it bleeding.
If it was foil, then we'd be in 95.
Ugh. If only Eric Larson and Todd McFarlane could do all the covers, I'd be living my childhood all over again. All right, so go ahead and start, bud.
Sorry, I was actually just trying to see if I could figure out who wrote this Red Lantern one, and I don't even see the little...
Yeah.
I don't see the page.
They have the Google. They can Google
Yeah,
it.
you should Google it. Anyways, so for whatever reason, 5 years in the future, Guy Gardner, who has been a prolific Red Lantern for the last, year and a half now?
Yeah, about.
He's a Blue Lantern all of a sudden.
Sure, why wouldn't he be?
Right. Of all other Lantern Corps, he would obviously be Hope.
So, if I may, you get angry when Kyle Rayner gets all these crazy things happening to him. How do you feel about Guy Gardner?
I'm pretty indifferent about Guy Gardner.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, he's Hope, and it starts out with him and Bleeze, who is another Red Lantern, working to get rid of all of the Red Lanterns. What they're doing is the blue ring has the ability to take the red ring off.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, the red ring actually replaces all of your blood with rage juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hatred and bile.
Yeah. So if a normal person was to take it off, or a normal being, because there's all sorts of different beings, was to take off their ring, they would die because all their normal bodily fluids aren't there anymore to keep them alive. The blue ring allows the red ring to come off. So Guy Gardner's using his blue ring to get rid of all the Red Lantern rings. And the kind of creepy thing is, I don't know if you can see this here, they're actually all going onto Bleeze. So she's now harnessing
her
what used to be her wings, her skeletal wing structure. So Bleeze is now holding all of the red rings that they're taking off of all these Red Lanterns, which is making her kind of go crazy because it's so much rage in her.
So...
There's also an awkward scene where Guy Gardner and Bleeze hook up.
Yeah, I can see that, and good for you, Guy Gardner, because if you're going to get with any of the Red Lanterns, it'd be Bleeze or Atrocitus, because I bet you he liked being the little spoon.
Xylee Zox, big round ball.
Yeah, like that's... You guys play basketball afterwards, and he would be your ball. The question I have is, like, the Red Lanterns, when they first started, couldn't even speak. There was so much rage in them. There were no words. And then all the words were words of hatred. Now they're just angry, like kind of irritated sometimes, not even angry.
What had happened was Atrocitus had the blood lake on Ismalt.
Yes.
If you got submerged into the blood lake, you got your consciousness back.
Yeah, I know, that's dumb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't even get your consciousness back. You're no longer rage. You're just kind of irritated sometimes.
Which could make people filled with rage. Have you been around annoying people a lot?
That's my point, though. The annoying people aren't filled with rage. It's everyone around them. They're just kind of
So maybe
irritated.
That's why they hang out in a group. They all just fill each other with rage. Maybe. Anyways, so the next thing we find out is it's down to 2 Red Lanterns left. It's Bleeze, who's got all these rings, and then the I don't remember what they call him. The Red
Ragnarok.
Red King Jack.
This is his new name.
That's his new name. What you find out is it's actually Rancor.
That's the one.
Whose human name was Jack, and he's now this like big, powerful guy that people come to try to get him to solve their problems, like essentially kill people for him. So Guy Gardner and Bleez go to find him to take his ring off. He's resisting, and then Guy says, "I have 20 words that I will say to you that will make you hand your ring over." And he whispers these words to him. You don't see what it is. And sure enough, he hands it right over. And then Bleez is like, well, I'm going to kill him now, and then you're going to kill me. That was the deal. Guy's like, nobody has to die. I'll tell you the same 20 words I told him, and you'll take your ring off, and then there will be no more red lanterns. And she says, well, what could you possibly say? And I think, if I'm reading this right, what he says is, when you first put on the blue ring, you get a vision of your future. It's what gives you the hope you need to get through all the ugly stuff the universe throws at you. She hears that. It snaps her out of her rage, and then they destroy all the red rings, and now there's no longer any red lanterns.
I'm pinching my head and sighing heavily because
it's a terribly thought out story.
No, because the second to last panel is so stupid. So he removes the ring from Red King Jack,
right?
Who goes back to normal human dude. He removes the ring from Bleez, who gets her wings back, even though in her backstory she was tortured and they were
ripped off.
And now they're canoodling and all lovey-dovey and about to make out and kiss. Like, what? Like, Guy Gardner just hooked up with her a day ago. Now the two last Red Lanterns are about to get it on. And
yeah, I don't know. But then at the end, you have guys saying, we can hope.
Seriously, people, Google who wrote it and throw stones at their house. Like, literally.
Yeah, because...
Not figurative.
I'm serious. I don't see a creative team listed on here at all. And that might be intentional because they knew how... it's right there on the cover.
No.
Who was it?
I can't even say.
Oh, goddamn. To be fair, he has been the writer on Red Lanterns.
Wow. What the...
So we've spent a lot of the last 5 episodes talking up Charles Soule.
Oh, no.
He just lost the point in our book.
Oh, Chuck. Chucky.
Yeah, Charles Soule, writer. Jeigh Calafiore, artist. The art was good. I have no problem with the art. But that is not a good story.
There's just so much... Oh, my God. I'm so full of rage right now. Like...
Because it's annoying.
He did a good job. Okay, makes sense now. That's why I'm so angry. Okay, good. I can be the next Red Lantern, son of a bitch. Okay, well, after I eat crow over my love of Charles Soule, I'm going to move on to Guardians of the Galaxy number 19. It's still the tie-in from Original Sin, and it's written by Brian Michael Bendis. As I mentioned before, last time, the whole issue was kind of The cliffhanger really brought me back in. This one was pretty much the exact same way. They're still trying to explain what happened to Nova in the Cancerverse. How did Richard Rider die? Thanos and Star-Lord came back. You find out they can't actually die because they're in the Cancerverse. So as soon as they get killed, they come right back.
You got to explain this to me. The Cancerverse?
Oh, you don't know about the Cancerverse?
I do not know about the Cancerverse.
A long time ago, far, far away, there was a series of books called Realm of Kings. It took place after War of Kings.
Yeah.
So in Realm of Kings, we found out, there's multiple universes?
Yeah.
One of them is known as the Cancerverse. It's a stupid name, mind you.
Right.
But they didn't, it was just something like one of the characters came up and called it that, and now it's just stuck. It's now called the Cancerverse.
Okay.
Anyways, it's all death. There is you don't actually die. You're just constant state of...
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
You need to be very careful of those.
Staples?
They used oversized staples in this book. That's going to tear up your pages.
Thanks, buddy.
Just saying. I know you appreciate keeping your books in good condition.
Yeah, we're back on that. So, you can see there, it's kind of essentially the Cancerverse is just death and destruction and,
Okay.
They're not zombies, but everything is just riddled with evil and vile and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So they call it the Cancerverse. The thing about the Cancerverse is there's no death. You just continually respawn evil, bile, and hatred.
And apparently you stay Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel.
Well, when we first saw the Cancerverse, she was Ms. Marvel. She wasn't Captain Marvel.
I didn't know if maybe she made the progression in every universe.
No, apparently just 616.
All right.
So we find out you can't die, so they keep killing Thanos because I thought it was kind of funny at first.
Oh, jeez.
Because they have the cosmic cube.
Right.
So there's one part where Drax asks him, like, did it hurt when you die? And he's like, yes. So then he kills him again.
Jeez.
Knowing he's going to come right back, but he's like, meh, why not? I can do this for eons. So they're fighting the Revengers, which is the Cancerverse Avengers, but obviously evil.
Of course.
And they can't die, and eventually they want the Cosmic Cube for themselves, and the issue ends with them getting the Cosmic Cube.
Black Bolt with the star there.
That is Captain America with the pentagram on his head, dude.
Oh, that is Captain America. It looked a little like...
no, I get what you're saying, and looking at it, it does.
Yeah. Creepy.
So, essentially, this whole issue could have been told in like 4 pages. I did not need a whole issue. I got real bored with it real fast.
Yeah.
Like, it was funny them killing Thanos at first. Like, that could have been a page. They didn't need to do 4 pages of it. Part of me is wondering if Marvel gave the decree saying Original Sin tie-ins have to be 3 issues long. Daredevil was 3 issues long. It turns out the other Guardians of the Galaxy is, last one, Charles Xavier, is going on to 4. So I'm wondering if they're just trying to stretch this premise out as far as they can.
Okay.
Because it's nothing. Like,
so essentially this is a filler issue in the middle of an event tie-in.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Like, this whole thing is supposed to find out what happened to Richard Rider. It's been 2 issues now. And those 2 issues combined still don't feel like I got enough substance for one real issue. So I think Bendis knew what he wanted to happen to Rider, but now they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'm going to do it all in issue 16. Actually, we need that to be 16, 17, 18, and 19. So stretch that out.
Got it.
And it felt stretched.
Okay.
Sinestro, Future's End.
Sinestro Future's End opens up 5 years later, like all of these do. He is on a a prison planet called Tartaros. It's described as having 1,000 cell blocks, all housed in over 100 satellite fortresses. So what you have is this fortress that's floating over an acid ocean.
Okay.
So even if you escape your cell block, Alcatraz style, instead of going in the Pacific, you're going into an acid bath and you're dying.
Okay.
So
Batman could do it.
Well, of course, Batman. Yeah. But Sinestro, come on. So pretty much you find out that Sinestro has been working with another former Lantern that's in this prison to essentially develop a new Sinestro Corps ring.
Yellow?
Yellow, yeah.
Okay.
Except instead of a ring, it's kind of like this little... I don't know if you ever broken a finger and had to get the little splint thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Why?
Because they don't have the ability to forge an actual ring.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sinestro starts fighting back against some of the other prisoners that are in here because in a flashback you find out that he had actually established a new Korrigar.
Yeah, well, that's what he's working towards in the Sinestro book.
Right. So at some point he does it. Unfortunately, this group called something that I don't remember. They all have weird names.
For him, but okay.
The Apex League shows up on New Korrigar and tries to capture Sinestro. He gives himself up because he knows if he doesn't give himself up, a lot of new Korrigarians are going to die.
Okay.
So he gives himself up. One of the other things you find out is that he had harnessed Parallax at the center of New Korrigar to be the power source for the planet.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Norin Saruka's
Yes. His daughter is also part of the Sinestro Corps now.
Interesting. Okay.
So you find out that after he left the planet with the Apex League, his control over Parallax faded. It broke loose and actually killed everybody on the planet.
So he's responsible for that destruction of the planet Dos Veces.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally not his fault this time. Ish. I mean...
Heavy is the crown.
Right. So he ends up breaking out of this prison and going back to New Korrigar. the Apex League follows him, and at the end of the book, you find out that he has figured out, with the help of his weird little friend here, who we've seen quite a bit, Lissa Drax.
Oh, yeah, she's all over the place.
Yeah. He's used her skull to actually activate and become the new head of the Black Lanterns.
So, as I'm looking at this last page, the Black Lanterns, those are all the Sinestro Corps members.
It's all his Sinestro Corps members that died when Parallax got released.
No.
Parallax got released, killed everybody that was on the planet, including his Sinestro Corps people. The problem I have with this ending is we've already seen a Black Lantern Corps in Future's End.
Yes.
In the Future's End Green Lantern, we saw that Krona, the former Guardian, has actually formed his own Black Lantern Corps. So do we now have 2 Black Lantern Corps, or do they not check editorial and realize that this idea was being used in 2 separate books?
I'm actually going with 2 Black Lantern Corps because it says at the end the color of the new Sinestro Corps. So Krona doesn't have control of them, maybe necessarily. I think you only get control of who you zombify.
Okay.
So he has control of them. Krona has control of this other group.
So that means 5 years from now we're going to have the Black Lantern War?
Oh, man, can we please?
Yes.
I mean, if Jeff Johns is still at the helm, I mean, it's going to happen long before 5 years.
Right.
Because we need a color war every week.
Right. We got to have some major event every week.
Do you think he'll start making new colors that we can have a fight with? Like eventually the magenta versus the violet versus the indigo.
He's going to go Skittles where it's one color on the outside, a different color on the inside.
The Gobstopper, they have all the rings. All right.
So yeah, that's that. Again, it's a Future End tie-in. I'm not impressed, but we've only got one more week of these, and then we're done.
And then we're back to the regular books, and I'm looking forward to that. Almost as much as I was looking forward to G.I. Joe #1.
I'm sorry, was looking forward?
Was looking forward. So I love G.I. Joe. Growing up in my youths, I watched the G.I. Joes.
Hey Joe, go Joe.
Yo Joe.
Yo Joe, I don't. Little bit before my time, actually.
I even have the Cobra tattoo on me. Me and my brothers went and got that all done together. So, like, I am a Joe fan. I have every issue ever published. No joke.
I don't doubt it.
Started in 1982 to present. Including this one.
Larry Hama.
Larry Hama. Still writing it, by the way. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, that is still ongoing. IDW picked that back up at issue 151 is where it ended. So they did 151.2, which was one of their Halloween specials. And now it's at issue 201. So it is going strong. But that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about this one, written by Karen Traviss. And for those of you who are wondering, who is Karen Traviss?
Which is probably most people.
That's a great question. In fact, let's read her bio at the end of this to give you some light on who Karen Traviss is.
The bio in there?
No, it's a question and answer with the editor. And the first question was, Karen, you're a very versatile writer with some pretty expressive credentials. For readers who might not be familiar, can you tell us a little bit about your background as a writer? To which she replies, I can't do a girl voice, so. Okay, deep breath, and the entire career history of Karen Traviss in 30 seconds. Advertising copyright, newspaper journalist, TV reporter and producer, newspapers again, defense correspondence, spin doctor, and now novelist and scriptwriter. I'm sorry about...
She was in the Spin Doctors?
Yeah, didn't they do... Oh, no. Was it Two Princes by the Spin Doctors? Yeah, she was one of the princess.
Awesome.
Yeah, little known... I'm sorry about the spin doc bit, but I'm all better now, and it comes in very handy for fiction. She's from a naval town where she spent most of her time working in defense as a defense correspondent and spent a short time in reserves doing a very safe, very minor job. Great.
You know what I didn't hear in her resume?
Previous comic book fucking
Exactly.
writer? Yeah, no shit. And now we know why. Your book is too wordy. There's too much going on for a first issue with not one bullet fired. It's a freaking G.I. Joe book and not one bullet fired?
She specializes in defense, not offense.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, she better be on the defense from getting some hate mail from me. Because I even have the address to where to send it.
Oh, perfect.
I may just send her a copy of this podcast and tell her what time to look at it at. So here's the deal. I understand not every G.I. Joe issue has to be riddled with action. In fact, I prefer that it's not. I like it when there's in-depth analysis. Like Larry Hammond did a great job. Chuck Dixon did a phenomenal job when he took over the book of incorporating real-life military strategic action along with real-life weaponry and then the fictional espionage of G.I. Joe. I get you have to build to it. I get you have to do all these other things to make it a realistic military experience, make fake countries and all that kind of thing, and some action. If you flip through this, like it is a lot of word bubbles that never freaking end.
Yeah, that's not great.
And at the end of this issue, so you mentioned Gotham. There's a lot of first people that show up in Gotham, and they just have to introduce everybody, right? I get you have to do that in comic books as well. This was excessive, though. Like, too much. To the point where I was getting bored, like, reading. I was like, oh my God. I'm going to come back to the Scarlet portion in a bit, because the rest is boring. This is going to be good. Nope. I'm going to have to go back to the other boring part, because that part's boring, too. I'm looking forward to where it's going. G.I. Joe had a great run, like I said, when Chuck Dixon was at the helm of it, when IDW took over. There was always been kind of 3 G.I. Joe books when IDW took over: G.I. Joe, Special Missions, and Cobra. So you see things from G.I. Joe's side, you see things from Cobra's side, and then the Special Missions is like the real espionage of G.I. Joe.
Okay.
In this book, G.I. Joe is Cobra's now taken over. They're now the head of political parties. They're now in mainstream media. Their name is now synonymous throughout the country of kind of like politicians and people trying to better the world while they're trying to do. And for all intent and purposes, it seems like they're kind of doing that. But now there's some radicals inside Cobra that want to take it back to the good old days where we really got to just cut them all.
Is that Cobra Kai?
No, but how awesome if Raj Macchio showed up.
Right.
Because Billy Zabka was the hero in that movie. So, no, you find out, look at, they bastardized Tomax and Zoma. That's one of the guys, they call him Mr. Polio. I'm like, what? Like, you see, he has a painting of who he used to be behind him, but no.
Okay.
So his press secretary's son is the one who's really trying to shake some shit up. So, long story short.
Very long written story short. Fair enough.
That's all the energy I have to talk about comic books right now because my heart breaks. I feel bad for our listeners at home. I always feel like I pick out the books I know I'm going to rip on. So next week, I'm going to try to read the books where I'm like, I know I'm excited to read and you're going to enjoy my review on. Like New Warriors. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, bud?
That's it for me and my voice.
But thanks for joining us. We will be back next week. So until then, have a great weekend.